We're joined now by Georgina Wright from the Institute for Government. Good morning to you. Many people are asking, what is the difference between this agreement that Boris Johnson has with EU leaders and the one Theresa May proposed and didn't get through?
I mean, that's an excellent question, probably that lots of MPs were asking themselves as well. And we know that the Prime Minister will open up today's debate and talk about it and present the main sort of deal and the changes. But essentially, most of Theresa May's deal is still there. The big changes are around the Northern Ireland Protocol. We know that the backstop has now gone, and the future declaration, political declaration, which suggests that government would be seeking a looser arrangement with the EU. Now, practically speaking, on Northern Ireland, we know that the whole of the UK, so Northern Ireland included, would be out of the EU customs union. So practically speaking, it means that government can, once the UK has left the EU, strike its own free trade agreement, set its own tariffs. But Northern Ireland would be still part of the EU's area for industrial goods and agri-foods, which means it continues to comply with certain EU standards. And the reason for that is because British and EU negotiators were trying to think of how can they minimise those checks along the border between Northern Ireland and the Republic. And then there are certain customs and tariffs, but all of that kind of still needs to be ironed out during the transition if we get there.
The border, Northern Ireland, has become such a focal point in all this. Some MPs have very clearly declared their hand. The DUP, for example, they can't do this. They cannot vote. They've said it publicly. They will be voting against the deal. But for a lot of other people, there is still a debate, an argument to be had.
Yeah, absolutely. The numbers are really, really tight. And we know that the Prime Minister is going to try and get all the ERG on board. You know, he's saying, look, this deal is different in the sense that the whole of the UK will be out of the EU's customs union. Great, we can strike our own free trade agreements, we can set our own tariffs. This is a great opportunity for the UK's future. But he'll also be trying to convince some Labour MPs to support him as well and saying, do you know what? Actually, the whole future relationship is still up for grabs, and we can commit to upholding worker standards, environmental standards, so all of that, you know, is protected as well. So he's going to really try, but by winning some, he might lose others on the other side.
So no deal is a possibility?
Well, it depends. So we know that a number of amendments have been tabled, and if the Let Win amendment passes, that's the crucial one, because government would be forced to request an extension, because that amendment would say actually the House will decline to vote on this deal until the Withdrawal Agreement Bill, that's the domestic legislation that's required to adopt that deal that was reached in Brussels, has been passed. But if none of the amendments pass and today MPs vote for the deal, then we are in this situation where government and Parliament was going to have to pass this Withdrawal Agreement Bill within 2 weeks, because if they fail to do so, come 31st of October, we could leave the EU with a withdrawal agreement reached in Brussels, but not that domestic legislation that requires to adopt it, and we could enter no-deal territory.
Georgina, we're going to be talking to you a little later on as well. Thank you so much for explaining that.